Hi, I'm Jenny Williams, and welcome to 60 Minutes to Six Figures. Today, we're really excited because we have a special guest with us that I know that you're going to appreciate as much as I have. I met him years ago in Hollywood, California, and he made such an impression on me and my husband, and I know that you're going to enjoy learning from him today as well. I'm Jenny Williams, and I want to introduce you to our awesome moderator, Matt.
How's it going, everybody? So I'm here so that you guys can ask questions, and so right here on the Google Plus page where you're watching this, you can do one of two things. You can type your question in as a comment and just hit submit or enter. I'll see it when it pops up, or you can actually use the Q&A application, and that will pop up, and I'll see that too. Either way, ask your questions, and we'll bring them to Jenny and Jerry and get them answered.
You know, Matt always does a great job helping run these Google Hangouts for us, and we are always happy to provide this once a month free online training for you. I get lots of emails and comments from people saying, thank you for offering this free training that I can just grab it anytime, either after it airs or join you when it's live on the second Monday at 1 o'clock every month. So thank you so much for being here. And today we are talking about high volume lead generation. And I don't know if you could ever have too many leads. The only time I would say that you would have too many is when you just don't have the time to, follow up very well and to convert those. But today, I want you to meet someone who has mastered high volume lead generation. And in fact, he has been recently named from Real Trends as one of the top 250 teams in all of the United States. Please welcome our guest, Jerry Pinkas from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Hey, Jerry.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Well, I appreciate it, and thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Well, just a few months ago, I invited you to be our keynote speaker for our Mastermind event that's coming up on October 27th. And just in that short amount of time, I've checked your Facebook followers. You had like 28,000. And
Yep.
just a few months ago, I called you. You've got like almost 33,000 followers now.
It is crazy. I know. It just keeps on growing.
So I cannot wait to hear how you did that. But before we get started in that, can you tell us a little bit about you and who you are and in Myrtle Beach and what your real estate company looks like?
Sure. We moved to Myrtle Beach about 10 years ago, so I'm not from this area, which is great. If you come in from somewhere else and you find that you can help someone out, again, new to real estate as well, so that was a new career for me. I was previously in the furniture industry and moved with my family to manage our rental properties and found myself into the real estate business answering questions for people that are potentially looking to invest in real estate in the area. So I was told actually by a lot of our rental customers to get your license. You know more about this stuff than some of the people that you're sending me to, and I was referring people at that time. But
I can see that.
yeah, so because I was an investor as well, so I was talking their language, and really enjoy the area. I've been here, started with a franchise company, working as an agent, did everything that they tell you to do, made thousands of mistakes like everybody does when they're starting out, but it's a learning experience. You don't get it right away, but I've been to every step from single agent to growing a team to what to do, what not to do, and I've learned that saying no is probably the best thing you can do rather than saying yes. And
you're probably right. I'm still learning that one. You'll help me with that.
I'll try. We'll work together. That's what it's about. We all work together. And but saying no to all the things that can distract you and just staying focused, that's the key.
Well, I can see that. And so tell us about, how many you ended up closing last year in 2014. What was your track record?
Sure. So last year we did 276 transactions. That's MLS and non-MLS. New construction. A lot of that stuff is not in the MLS. But we've grown over the years. I started, I think, my second year in business. I was a single agent doing 52 transactions and found out that's about all I could do. Without getting too deep into it, it's It's about all I could do, and then just kind of grew from there.
Well, I know exactly what you're talking about. I always sold over 60 houses a year myself, and it's hard to go any more than that. I had one of my clients that had sold 54 the year before, and he said, I make a great living. I cannot sell, and do one more thing in my business.
Right.
After you realized that, what was your first experience in building your team? Who was your first hire?
First hire was a buyer's agent. Now, a lot of times it was because I had so many leads. I had this systems that I was generating a lot of leads and couldn't really follow up with everybody. So my first call was I'll get a buyer's agent, and I was going to still work listings and still work the rest of it and spin the plates like everybody does. Just keep the plate spinner at the circus. The one plate starts wobbling, you go run down the line, you hit that one, you come back, and that's what I was doing. Right. Until I figured, well, I got to try a different approach and get a little more systemized.
Now, I'm curious, Jared, did that work the first time around, your very first experience bringing on a buyer's agent, or did it reveal more flaws than you thought in your training and your accountability system?
Yes. So, so the funny thing is, all the above, yeah. The funny thing is it is a learning experience. Obviously, out of the gate, it doesn't work just perfectly. But believe it or not, that buyer's agent is still with me today.
Wow.
I was very selective on who I was going to choose. So I think that's an important thing. Again, saying no, right? So who I choose to make sure that they had the same mindset as I have, the same work ethic, the same drive, desires. Family, all those things that come together make a good relationship, and that's what I was looking for, is the relationship. I wasn't looking just to hire someone, because it's not about hiring people. It's not about bringing more people on. That compounds the problem a lot of times. It's about making sure that everybody is doing what they should be doing when they're supposed to be doing it.
Yeah, and now you're to the point, if I remember right from what we said when we talked about before we went on the air, I think you've got, 3 listing coordinators or listing agents and then a handful of buyer's agents?
Sure. So I split the team into 2 sides. Buyer's agents are exclusive buyer's agents. That's all they do. And why? Because if you're going to do volume and have these systems, you need to make sure that you can provide. But if they do that job over and over consistently, they're going to get really good at it. And so I have 7 buyer's agents. I have 3 listing agents, and that's all they do is list. I have 2 admins, and I'm the plate spinner that does all the rest, the marketing, the broker in charge, all that sort of thing. So I've left that franchise, and a couple of years back, I opened my own brokerage. Let's see, it's 4 years now. And we ended up 2 years ago, we bought the old Coastal Carolina Association of Realtors building. So we have the room to grow.
That was a nice move.
It was great. Gave us a lot of room. We have a training room. We bring in speakers, and it's really a good location. We're 4 blocks from the beach, so what's there not to like, right?
Very cool.
Okay, so for you to be able to feed this many people on your team and have profits left over for you, when you're talking about you've got 10 people that are on commission.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of leads you have to bring in order to feed that many people.
Yeah.
So, how many leads do you think that you generate every month?
Well, on a minimum, 700, and it's as many as you want. We can literally create a flood, and so what's different about us is I think that the average brokerage model has a handful of lead generation ways to generate leads. We have, believe it or not, 627 lead sources. Now that sounds craziness, right? But they all funnel into different areas. There's different pockets of and different interest levels as well. We have 43 websites. Some of them are branded, some of them are not branded, some of them are stealth sites, we have landing pages, we have billboards, we do, of course, referral business, direct mail, books, CDs, giveaways, we list, we market to our lists, we email, so we do, we hit it by land, by air, by sea. We're not just hitting it on one level. So, you have some lead sources that are produce a trickle, and they're really high quality, and you have others that are produce volume, might be a longer cultivation period. And but you put those all into the pie, and voila, out in the end you have clients.
Well, and it's funny you mentioned that, because it's not high quality, low quality. It's high quality and long cultivation time.
Correct.
And that's the key, because you can generate a lot of online leads, but it's not that they're bad. You just have to have the systems established to communicate with them over a long period of time to convert them, right?
That's right. It's all about follow-up. So it's not about, okay, I've got these leads, great. Now you just create a problem. Okay, so you're going to get people that are going to be mad at you. You're not following up. You're not getting me what I want. So the cultivation period that we use, it's to make sure that we're their friend, but also to give them information that they wouldn't otherwise get. The internet is a great tool. It's where people go to search everything. You can find anything if you have a problem with anything in your home, you can go and Google it and find the solution to how to fix something or whatever. So it's not the internet. You have to provide them some information that they can't find on the internet, the local, hands-on, and this is where the conversion starts. So you have to be their friend. You have to be their support. You have to certainly give them what they're looking for, because in all honesty, realtors, a lot of times people think, okay, well, they'll just go and open a door for us, we can get in and look at the thing, and we'll see if we can make an offer. But there's so many other cogs of the gears that have to mesh in order for something to happen.
So when you're talking about local hands-on information, are you talking about tax records, or are you talking about school systems, or floor plans, or what do you find really hits a hot button?
Well, we find this is a little different market than what most are, and I help people in other markets that we're a secondary market. Meaning at the beach, it's second homes. There's vacation rentals. There's primary residence. There's retirement communities. There's so many different things that are going on, so that we segment those, for what people are looking for. But I think that just making sure that you can give them information maybe about that community that they didn't know. Homeowners association fees, what's included, what's not included. Pending litigation in some areas, yeah, it looks great online, right? But guess what? You got a $30,000 assessment coming up, or those kind of things.
Right.
Hit the pain points to let them know that, yeah, you're going to have some issues here, so you just can't do this on your own. And then there's the lure of, okay, what can you do to help me?
Okay, so really what you're doing is really taking a look to see the patterns of who's looking at what, like maybe your buyer's agents are, who's interested in what are they favoriting, what are they spending time looking at, so that your agent can say, hey, I noticed you, and I'm guessing.
Yeah, yep, that's right.
Assuming.
No, that's right. And it's not only that, but it's also asking the questions. So, question-based selling. I like question-based selling because, gathering information, you can't help someone unless you know what the problem is or what it is that they're looking for. They may already know a lot of things, but they probably don't know everything. We're here, we're local, this is what we do every day, and we're very good at it. That's the story that we're presenting to them. So by helping them in that manner, we attract rather than repel or chase. We're not really chasing the customer. The customer is more or less coming to us. So we try to take that approach.
Okay, so before we start talking about all the methods and sources that you're using to generate these leads, how do you work with your team, especially your buyer's agents, with attitude on kind of like what Matt was just saying, like that long cultivation period? Because so many teams that I work with, they're buyer's agents, and you know this because you've probably worked with some of these people. If they don't say they're ready to go see something today, or they're ready for that consultation, then they're like, that's nothing but a bunch of horrible leads.
Yep. Heard that before. Fortunately, those people aren't here any longer because they didn't have the right mindset. But here's the thing: you just have to have the right mindset, and I think, first off, you have to show up. I mean, the people that are successful in this business are consistent. Okay, if we looked at everybody who's out there, and you have to be consistent and repetitive. So not everything is on the outside beautiful. It's shiny. It's new. It's not. I'll give you an example of one that we just closed a deal for $1,150,000. Okay, this guy was in our system for 3 years. He was an investor, and that's all he said. Not much no conversation. The guy didn't want to play his cards, but it turned out to be a 1031 exchange. Okay, but that's his first of 4 1031 exchanges. So you can't and we just closed one deal, so now we'll have 3 more.
Right.
That was one of those crappy leads, right? So they're not crappy. You have to have the right attitude and mindsets that you can convert these. And until they say, I give up, take me off, I've had enough, I'm not looking anymore, we're not moving, whatever the case is, then it's done.
Yeah, and it sounds like you try to take even some of the mindset out of it by putting them through a specific follow-up system that you follow regardless of what your initial impression of them may be, which kind of helps eliminate, so you can still approach it with maybe not the best mindset, but as long as you're putting them through a consistent system, it's kind of solves some of those problems.
It does. It's a machine. It's a marketing machine, basically, and it cultivates and separates. But the thing with it is not everybody needs the same things. Okay, so there are certain things that we will feed to them, and we're feeding them, and so that they'll go ahead and come back. And I think that just being helpful is half of the battle, but then, of course, the other end of that is okay, they're dealing with 5 real estate agents, right? So, how do you get them to come to you is the next thing. So, again, by building that relationship, that cultivation period, so that you're the trusted resource, if you tell them things that they don't know, anybody can say, look, let's go look at this property, let's go do this, let's go do that. Anybody can do that. The key to this is making sure that you've given them a lot more than what they were expecting or even know about, and the pitfalls can be dangerous, and throw those out there. Here's the problems we've seen happen. Tell the stories of customers who have gone, and again, the conversion happens.
So what you're saying is you're really kind of pushing that pain of the unknown.
Pain of the unknown, but education as well.
Okay. All right, I love it. So where do you do a lot of the traditional lead generating sources like Zillow and Realtor.com and
Sure.
Do you use these sources?
I have, and matter of fact, we were actually we were buying $10,000 a month worth of Zillow. I mean, I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on things that don't work. I can tell you what doesn't, But I think that Zillow is a good source. The interesting thing, let me back up a step or 5. Okay, so the interesting thing about lead generation, they're not all the same. They're going to be different levels. I think you need to have staggered different levels, but the individual agent, I think, wants to buy something off the shelf, right? Because it's easy, and there's really no one thing that you can say, I got to have that, because then when I get that, it's going to change everything.
Right.
I think you need to own it. Okay, so when you own it, and you're hitting these are systems. If it's social and all the other things that you do, you personally own it. You're not paying that monthly rent like it's a lease on a car, right? So if you're just leasing it, and then when you stop paying, that's the end of it. When you're branding and doing all these other things on a totally different level, it continues on. We can stop. And some things you can do one time. It's the effort and energy that you do one time that compounds and constantly is bringing you in. There's a lot of things that you can do that way as well. But when you layer it, different layers, then you have, the ones that are today, tomorrow, and then, down the road a year from now. That's the way you build a business.
Do you mind sharing a little bit about your favorite lead sources, or maybe what you would do if you were an agent, let's say doing 20 or 30 deals a year, trying to get to that 50 deal a year level? Yeah. Where would you start, and where would you look first to start ramping up the number of leads you're generating?
Okay, I'm going to go over a couple of things here, but that's really what we're going to talk about at the Mastermind, which is going to be awesome. We're going to get into depth on that. But let me just talk to you about marketing. Okay, today we each have our own marketing companies. Okay, it's years ago you had to go to the marketing company, the media company, and you'd buy this media. It could be print ads, it could be postcards, all these types of things. We can do that today. Today we each have our media company. I don't like the word social media, right? Because everybody uses social media. It's media, right? And if you can buy media, and you can buy it relatively inexpensively, and you can also get social media very inexpensively on yourself, or no cost, low cost, And that's, again, like Facebook. You had mentioned I've got a lot of followers, but I'm not selling to them, right? When you're attracting people, you're attracting them by feelings, how they feel. You aren't making them selling. Okay, I've seen a lot of people, for instance, on Facebook, realtors and loan officers and this sort of thing, and what do? They're posting their listings over and over and over, right? And how many likes do you get with that?
Wow.
Right? So it's not about them. Okay, that's selling. That's the wrong approach. The approach is to attract. So if you go to my Facebook page, it's Jerry Pinkas Real Estate Team. Not Jerry Pinkas. That's my personal, but the team. And so what you'll find is a lot of what I post is how people feel, or I ask questions. And what that does is that's building. It's social, right? You and I are talking right now, so that's social. If I didn't have this conversation, it's not as social. So we want to make sure that we're on the same page, and it's like-minded people you're attracting. So a lot of people say, Pink, you got it made, you're at the beach, right? But the reality is there's a lot of people that are inland and elsewhere that I've helped, and it's not just the beach. If I post a picture of beach chairs and an umbrella and it's a sunny day and it's sitting there and how would you like to be here now? Well, of course, what's not to like about that, right? And or if I tell them to share something, here's a good post, sell your stuff, move to the beach, live your life. Okay, right? Who's not on with that? Everybody will do that, right? So that gets shared. When you get it shared, the compound effect of that is you're bringing in more like-minded people that agree to that, and it keeps on going. So this is the idea, if you call it social, that's the idea behind social media.
Well, and we were talking before we got started today, the three of us, that I always love watching your posts because it'll be like a beach chair with a pillow in it and some, cute saying, and you'll have 21 shares.
Yeah.
People have just really, passed this along to friends because it created a feeling in them, and then they can build a relationship with you over time. So I do have fun watching you, build it bigger and bigger. What are some other tips that you've used to build your fan followers?
One thing I want to mention is I had one that had 45,000. I don't know what they call it. I'm drawing a blank right now, but it's 45,000 the exposure through the shares of other people, and that's the case study. I'm going to explain that at the Mastermind as well for the breakout session. But it's the compound effect of that because that brought in more, and it just keeps on going.
Yeah.
And Jerry, are these basically are these actual photos you've taken and then you just use the photo, or are you using like one of the photo text applications that fly around a lot? Is there any favorite tech tools you can give out?
Word documents, believe it or not. I am so yeah. If you take picture or if you use a Word doc, okay, or if you use Paint, I mean, it's simple, right? You can put letters in anywhere, and people get, like, for instance, video, right? You've talked to a lot of people about video, I'm sure. Yeah. People get, I'm going to build this green room, and I'm going to get all the equipment, and I'm going to do all this stuff, and my stuff is really kind of crappy, really, honestly. It's not that great, but the whole point of it is it doesn't have to, if you do a lot of it, right, it kind of cures a lot of things. So, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to wait to do it. Just do it and do a lot of it. I'll post 3-4 times a day, in different, not just Facebook, but we're just talking about all these other things. But, again, it's plate spinning. This only takes a couple minutes. Don't get on Facebook and then spend your day on Facebook because you're not making any money. Okay,
that's an excellent tip. I hope you were listening.
Yeah.
Write that down.
The conversion comes after the fact, and so wait for those people to talk to you and have that conversation. I get it.
And that's something we'd love to talk about. I don't know if you want to talk about that right this second, but I would love to hear how you're taking people and converting them from just being people that come across you on Facebook into actual clients. So I'll let you get to that when you feel like it. Okay.
The Mastermind, we're going to talk about all that good stuff.
Good.
One of the things that Matt, that Jerry uses is, and you probably saw in his email signature, he's got it bold and he's got arrows, and he sends people, like us on Facebook. Mm-hmm. And just think about how many people you probably email in a day.
Right.
It draws your eye straight down there. And I'm sure you've been building that, and all your team probably has that.
Oh yeah, and they each have their own face with their email signature. It's all branded colors. We're orange. Why orange? Because everybody uses red, white, blue, green. We're just want to be different. So if you're going to show up, my theory on this is show up like nobody else is going to show up, right? Because then you're going to stand out from the crowd. You're not going to be average. You don't want to be average, because if you go to a listing appointment and there's 5 agents there and 4 of them are average and one's just a little bit above, guess who gets the listing? So that's the whole key to the whole thing.
Right. Okay, so we've got, getting people there by email signature. We've got posting, really information that creates a feeling in people, so that that's shared, which will bring more people in by attracting them. What's another way that you've used to really promote your page and get those followers?
Well, basically, I'll tell you, and again, it doesn't cost anything. After you get this ball rolling, it takes a lot of energy. It's like riding a bike up a hill, okay? In the beginning, it takes a lot of effort to get going, okay? And then once you do, it seeks itself out. And you find more of those like-minded people, and they come to you. As an example, let's go to Anytown, USA. Okay, what's going on today in downtown? Something, right? You better be talking about that, or take pictures at any event that's going on. Tell them what's happening. You're not selling. You're a realtor. You're a local community person. You're attracting, and talk to them about what else is going on. Here's the upcoming events. Here's what I did. Don't be so, I went to the movies last night and saw blah blah blah. But what we're talking about is the community. Okay, so if you're building a community page, make it a community page. It's not a real estate listing page. It's not a and you want to go after. Think of who your customer is. I'm dyslexic. So I have an advantage, and I'm going to tell you what that is. I'm starting at the backside and working my way forward. So I have the end result in mind before I got there. And so the advantage with that is again, who's your customer? I get on Facebook and I get 20,000 realtors that want me to friend them on their fan club page. Well, I'm never going to buy anything.
Right.
Okay. But if I'm a mortgage broker, maybe that works, okay? But if I'm looking to attract buyers or sellers, how do you do that? Just think about it, what you would put out there, and put that content out there and be consistent at it. If you think you're going to do it, for a little while, don't even try it, because you're going to get no results and it's a waste of time. Try something else. But if you're going to be and again, like I said, you got to be consistent at anything to really get good at it. The people in the business, not just this business, but any business, are very consistent in anything. They usually do pretty well.
Well, and I think Michael Hyatt, who talks about blogging and the platform, and that momentum, like once you get to a certain amount of people that follow you, then it's a lot easier. Like
yes.
it's hard to get started and build that momentum, but once you're there, you'll attract more and more people. And thank you for saying that. I tell everybody all the time, don't have other realtors like your page. This is your community. So thank you.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
so like what Matt was saying, how are you, do people then contact you because they feel like they know you because they've been following you on Facebook? Or, how are you, because I don't see you really posting listings.
No. Well, we will market to them, but we're tracking pixels as well. So, okay. We're tracking pixels. If anybody doesn't know what that is, like if you go to CNN, you were just looking for a car, and suddenly you see these ads that are showing up about cars. Or we're really focusing on neighborhoods. Okay, so a lot of the marketing does not necessarily happen on the wall; it happens elsewhere as well.
Okay,
but
so you're using like follow me ads and highly targeted.
Highly targeted.
Okay,
how much is my house worth?
That is a huge tip, agents, for you to know. What he's mastering is attracting people to be a part of his community, and then working behind the scenes to make the sale. That way, you're not out there pounding in front of people's face, because people aren't attracted to that.
They aren't. If they already know you, like you, and trust you, guess what? You can step up to bat. You tell them what to do, and they'll do it. Now, if I tell them to share, I'll do a post, right? And and we're talking about Facebook here, but there's so many other things about this. But if I tell them to share, what do they do? They share. So then it ends up on their wall. Then they get more people, that their friends, that come in, and it just kind of attracts. Now, once we have those like-minded people, maybe they're thinking about the beach. Okay, I don't know. Maybe they don't have the ability. We don't know. And they say, okay, well, that's not. We can target, like for instance, the retired people who are at a certain demographic. Okay, we can target people that are in. Here's the other interesting thing. It's not just Facebook, but like if I'll go to my local tax records and I can see where ownership is for a majority of town. If I find one town or 5 towns or these 10 towns are where a lot of people are coming from, they've already got the message of us, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go market to those towns not only through Facebook, but I'm going to go there in print. Nobody else is there. There is no competition. I'm controlling the market. They're my friend. They aren't going to go anywhere else. If they are, they're going to maybe they'll sign up on these real estate websites, but when it comes down to it, who are they going to deal with?
Right. And they probably are signing up on lots of different sites.
And they are.
And when they're coming into you, are you tracking the lead source, or are you getting any kind of feedback from the clients as far as like where they've seen you, or how much that contributed to their decision to work with you?
Absolutely. And we're not on a main drag. I said we're 4 blocks back from the beach, but we have people that walk in all the time, and we've never had a conversation with them at all, like a physical phone conversation. They've ignored whatever this kind of thing. But hey, I'm your friend on Facebook, or I see all your stuff. I've had people come in. I've seen your videos are everywhere. So you got to be the guy. So that's kind of what we end up. And if you do it consistently, you end up being the guy or the gal.
That guy.
Yeah.
So when we were just talking about, saw you on the websites and signing up on websites, you said you have 43 different websites.
Yeah.
Okay, so touching on that a little bit, I'm assuming, I know that you'll tell me, each one is probably branded to a specific target audience.
Correct. So
that's why you have 3, right?
Sure, and within those sites, then there's pages as well. So there's landing pages, and there's also pages, community pages, with that kind of information. You can't have one website that's going to do everything. And again, it's a shiny object. Everybody wants to sell you on buy this nice website because it's going to do everything. What I've found is I have systems, and then I'll split test that system, and then I have a system on a system. Now, if that makes any sense, what you do is you really get down to where it's coming from, okay? What's the conversion rate, how it's doing. Again, some of these customers, it takes time to cultivate. If they're retiring, it's imminent. And it's happening. They're not buying this year, okay? They're going to buy next year or 2 years. Those are treated differently than an investor who's looking for numbers. You're just going to talk numbers. And that's different than the person who's just, I'm thinking about, I've heard a lot of good things about the area, and I'm just kind of tiptoeing it. So again, there's all different approaches to each customer.
So each follow-up plan is also different based on the source that generated that lead.
Yeah, and you can sort it out we sort it also by temperature, I guess, how hot or cold they are, or also, what it is they're looking for, how motivated they are or not, what kind of communication level we've had with them. Are they answering calls? Are we talking to them? There's all different levels.
Okay, and you also mentioned that of those 43 sites, sorry, Matt.
Yeah, sorry, get back to it.
Some of those you said are branded, and some of those are stealth sites.
Correct.
And I feel like it's human nature to end up trusting that stealth site and that non-branded site if they don't know who you are yet.
Sometimes. It depends on what it is. An example of a stealth site would be how much is your house worth, a value site, right? So we've tested probably 6 different ones, and some of them convert at a better rate than others do. Not that we don't use one or the other. It depends on what it is. So that way I can track where that came from. So it's all based on, I guess, marketing more than anything. If you have enough media out there and you hit them out there on all different levels, we lead by abundance, which is great, because if you have, the person who we probably wouldn't get along with, that is hard, that is just, not on the same wavelength, we can let them go somewhere else, which is a great advantage. Because we've all been there where we needed to make that next deal, right? But then the problem is you're really sorry the whole time you're dealing with them. And what we're looking for is, again, that referral after the fact. So if I give them, and we set that expectation up in the beginning, if I give them, here's a golden nugget, if I give them, you tell them, I'm going to give you the best service there is. So you're going to go ahead and tell all your friends and family about us after you. So you've already told them what you're going to do before you've even done it. And that's looking for the referral after the fact as well.
So you're spending the money to bring them in so that you can make up that return on investment, not only from this sale, but from the other referrals that come in that are generated from that person.
Yes.
So speaking, you had mentioned, as far as numbers, because I think this is hard for a lot of agents to put their head around, is how much money sometimes it can take to generate a ton of leads.
Yes.
You threw out that you were spending about $10,000 a month on Zillow.
Which I'm not anymore, by the way. I just want you to know. Okay. So I was testing it. Okay. So what you do is, and they have all those co-branding programs and that sort of thing. I was testing. Is it any better or worse than? What's the standard, the benchmark, and then there's a cost per lead, and then the cost per conversion. And is this going to be any better or worse than? I've found that I can generate many more leads for much less money, pennies, as a matter of fact, in a lot of cases, or no cost. And they're more engaged, they're more realistic, and so again, you can generate that money and you can put that money somewhere else. And here's what's interesting. What I meant by saying no. We all like looking at these things that are shiny, right? There's all these great products that are out there. On a quarterly basis, here's a golden nugget. On a quarterly basis, I highly recommend coaching because I think it's good for everybody, but on a quarterly basis because it keeps you on the straight and narrow. Take a look at all the junk that you're wasting money on, right? A lot of people will go and buy, they'll load up. A good coach like Jenny, okay, she will keep you straight and keep that going so that you're not chasing something that you shouldn't be. Get very focused on it, and you're going to really, you're going to do well because you're focused on the thing that's generating you money, not necessarily the shiny object that's, it's cool.
Right.
But then you got 20 of these things that you didn't.
Well, it's the got a deal syndrome. I got a deal from that. I got a deal from this. But just about, you can tell, Jerry, just about any of your 600 lead sources will bring a deal. Yep. Or it conceivably worked for somebody sometime, but that doesn't mean it's what you should be spending your money on.
That's right.
Well, and money is just one factor.
It is.
You've got time, energy, effort, and you've got the exactly what you were talking about a while ago. If it's not your ideal and that keeps being generated, then that, to me, if I get rid of that out of my life, I would have paid twice.
Absolutely.
That issue.
Absolutely, yeah. You'd pay twice. And it does take time. Okay, so let's buy these shiny new websites or whatever it is, right? Nothing out of the box, trust me, is just that way. You got to put some time into it. You got to develop it. You've got to put in. You got to build out pages if it's a website. You got to do these things. The SEO work on it. You have to do the back end, the front end, and the outside and the inside. So don't think that it's, I'm going to buy that and it's just going to work. There's a cost, and that cost is time. If it's not money, it's going to be time. You're going to give up one or the other. Right,
and not to take anything away from what you're saying, but just to, agents, if you have a pen, if you want to write this down, some of these that he's talking about are probably, or that he's referring to in his head are, Boomtown, Commissions Inc., ZIllow, there's Tiger Leads. There's so many out there that can do a lot. They do have CRMs. They can do a ton for you. They can do your Google AdWords. They can really help you build campaigns. But you can't just, if you order that and spend that kind of money, you can't just let it stay unpersonalized and unattended. Right. You have to really make it your own and spend the time to do that, or it's never going to pay off.
Right.
If you would agree.
It's very true, very true. And I think it's good to have a product. Obviously, you have to have a product. Everybody says, well, what's the best product, right? I don't think there is the ultimate, this has got it all, right? Because there's, this one has the good features, but the other one has this and that. So it's not going to be, okay, this covers all the bases. It's going to cover some of them. Just be happy with one. Put the energy and effort into it. Don't expect it to, okay, boom, out of the gate. You got to work at it. You're going to pay for it. Again, if it's pay-per-click, for instance, you're going to pay for it. Or you're going to back end the SEO. You're going to do the work in there and get it on that level. There's, it's either time or money. So if you're an agent looking for leads, there's a lot of ways to get leads. But the key to it is how much time have you got to sell? Think about what your main objective is. This is the shiny object you're chasing. What is it? How much time is it going to take for you to do this? How much time is it going to take for you to take a customer out or meet for that appointment or be at that closing or wherever it is? We're everywhere, and that's the reason I built my team, is because I was not capable of doing everything. I've done everything. I can understand it. I did it pretty well, actually, but that's the reason, is so that I'm able to figure out from the back end, okay, how can I make this work better? What's the system that I can do to simplify? My agents, fortunately, they do very well here. That's the reason that they're consistent. We don't have a lot of turnover. The turnover usually is from somebody that we want to turn. So it's not a matter of, it's like-mindedness. I want everybody to have a good time because I want to have a good time. I don't want to be just sitting there. And there's some brokerages that I've heard, they're like drill sergeants. They're on me for this, that, and the other, or that they aren't giving me anything, or it's all that stuff. I want them to have a good time. I want everybody to make money, and if you do that, I think you've covered the bases.
Well, no, I think you're right, and it does speak for you, since your first buyer's agent from 8 years ago is still with you.
That's luck.
Well, it's both. It's both. Yeah. So what kind of money are you spending now, if you don't mind me asking, as far as just, lead generation?
It ramps. It changes. Again, if we're in need, it'll go up. If I don't need, it goes down. And the reason, for instance, you have buyer's agents, okay? If they're at a point where they're looking to talk to people, which really ever happens here because there's plenty of people to talk to, right. But if they're ever at that point, we'll ramp it up. And so a lot of times, actually, I got to be honest with you, I'm backing down because why am I going to not just spend money, because it's not about money, it's also time. Why am I going to put this time into something when we've already got that base covered? And
sure.
If I've got a buyer's agent that's out with a customer and there's another appointment for tomorrow and then 2 more the following day, why do they need any more leads? So.
Right. So
well, yeah, and I'm curious about. Sorry, Jenny.
Yeah.
So I work with a guy that runs a team of about 30 agents, and he found that for each agent, he realistically can only give them about 30 new leads a month, because once you get past about that point, that's when the follow-up starts to drop off, and they don't do any more deals a month than they would if you gave them 60 or 100 leads. I mean, do you have any metrics for that, or do you are you gauging it by their activity level?
Activity mainly. Because look, if you're busy and you can eat more leads, I'm giving you more leads. Because guess what? It works. It's a partnership, right? We're both working on this thing together. And so, but I will say that we're in a secondary market, which is a little different. If I was in a primary market, I have to. Nobody's gonna. If they're in New Jersey and I'm in South Carolina, they're not gonna. Hey, come on into the office. It's just not going to happen that easily. So there is some of that conversion, and it depends on what it is and who that customer is. If it's primary residence, if it's an investment,
So you're having to generate a higher number of leads.
I do.
Your conversion is automatically lower because of your market.
I do. I have a handicap because of that, really, honestly. Yeah. But I overcompensate by abundance.
Gotcha. Very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what about blogging?
Yeah.
Are you blogging at all?
Not so much anymore. I think. I hate the word social media, but social media is really big right now, and we do SEO, okay, search engine optimization. So that's a natural, coming up naturally in the rankings for what you're targeting. I think you can do that. I don't think people are reading like they used to. I think they're more engaged by emotion. I think they're more engaged by the feelings, and that's why the social media. Now, like videos, we'll take videos of every complex, and we'll cover it. And again, so they'll have an idea of what it looks like. You can look at it online. You can see pictures of listings, but you really don't know, okay, what are the grounds really like? How clean is it? All these types of things.
Right. Short,
engaging videos. And they work well. But I think that that's what you have to do. You can't you're not necessarily covering all the bases right away.
Well, but that's an excellent tip, because things change. Audiences react differently as we evolve. So that's wonderful, because I think a lot of people would say, "Thank God, I don't have to blog anymore."
Yeah. Well, look.
Well, it's got to be part of your SEO strategy, though, right?
Look, if you have it is a part of it, but it's not a huge part of it. Content is king. We know this with Google. So, but you have to be the authority. So, if you're authoritative, you do get those rankings. But there's a lot of other things that you can do. You don't have to hit all 1,000 of the things that Google thinks it's wonderful to make sure that you get good rankings. I think that it's one part of it. People are looking for the information. It's very competitive today. What makes you stand out, I think, is more important. If you have all these things that everybody is doing all at the same time, and if you search whatever it is that you're searching your key term for, you only have 10 positions on that page, right? So you're either going to be a paid at the top. People will avoid that. Sometimes they won't deal with it because they've been down that road, and they're looking for the content. But, okay, so you've just signed up on 10 sites. Now what? Who gets it? Okay, that's what I'm talking about, right? Who gets it?
Well, I can't wait to have you here in 15 days. Can you believe it? 15
I'm excited. It's going to be awesome.
On the 27th, and you're going to go really deep because you have more time to spend, and it's very focused on what we're going to be doing at Mastermind that day.
Yeah.
So, if you haven't gotten your ticket, you need to make sure to go to bhammastermind.com and grab your seat, because you're going to learn even more from Jerry as we spend that day together. In fact, you've got a breakout session, which I love the title of it.
Yeah.
Hear what that title is.
Hold on. I got to look at it.
Oh, I've got it.
You got it?
Swipe and deploy.
Yeah.
More traffic than you can handle.
Yeah, that's what everybody wants, right?
Yes, it is. So, and that's just one of the sessions. It's like having 8 workshops in one day. I'm even personally going to be teaching a personalized follow-up plan that fits, who you are, so that you'll actually commit to doing it because you're excited about it. It's good. Follow-up, like what you said, is key. It's the #1 thing. Everybody can generate leads. Everybody can.
Implementation as well. 2 things. So I would say definitely it's either, because if you don't implement it, it ain't going to happen, right? But the follow-up with it, that's the key.
Yeah, and that's how you end up making the money. And you can generate hundreds of leads. The minimum that you said that you do is $700 a month. You can generate that, but if you don't follow up, then all you are is a lead generator.
Yeah.
That's it. So,
that's right.
Tell everyone how they can reach you and send referrals to Myrtle Beach.
Sure. So if you want to get me on Facebook, it's Myrtle Beach, or it's Jerry Pinkas Real Estate Experts. That's my team page. Or you can friend me on regular Facebook as well. You can Google me and you'll certainly find me. So that's probably the easiest way. But we'll take the very best care of your customers if it's a referral, for sure. All of our agents are top choice. They're all handpicked. So I'm looking forward to this event. It's going to be awesome.
It is, and thank you for taking your time to share with us today. I can't wait to see you in 15 days, and y'all reach out, send Jerry a question if you have one, and definitely don't forget to, of course, like his Facebook page so that you can see all the wonderful things that he's doing and kind of tap into that for you yourself as well. And remember, anybody who is headed that way, to send to Jerry. So thanks for joining us today. Again, we're always happy to see you on the second Monday at 1 o'clock, and we'll see you next month. Thanks, Matt.
All right. Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you. Thanks.
Bye. Thanks, Jerry.
Bye-bye. Thank you.